bring up my panel. Don't all come up at once. So no, we're not going to sit. You think Roberto has the standing thing only? So we're gonna stand for this one. And in fact, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna stand over here and let you guys have center stage.
John, I'll tell you what. I've never been so thankful to not be part of Roberto's session. Holy Jesus.
Well, I'll try not to imitate it too much. So the goal on this last panel is just to wrap up today's events. A couple of questions about what's next down the road. We're going to ask our panelists those questions. I think everybody's been introduced so far. Well, for you, just quick introduction of yourself.
I'm sure. I'm working for the European Central Bank. I'm a statistician by profession. I've covered basically all the data domains covering banking supervision and central banking. And since the last 4 years, I'm working as a governance and strategy expert in our data office.
Carl Kane, I work for Bank of Ireland. I lead out on data culture and capability, data and AI culture and capability. I have a background in advanced analytics, marketing as well, so I'm an internal entrepreneur, and I am immediately afraid of standing right beside a regulator. This is not a place we want to be in, really. So.
And Lafir, you introduce yourself.
Lafir,
Today,
yeah.
of course, our host of the event. So let me just ask a question of each of you real simple. We've heard a lot of topics today. We've heard data governance, we've heard AI, we've heard DCAM, we've heard all sorts of things. So just if I can go down the row, Lafir, I'm going to start with you. What resonated with you most today?
So I think a couple of points. One is the fact that change is coming, and it's coming at a pace that we are probably not as prepared as we would like to be, right? Second, that change is very much putting us in the fore as custodians of the firm's data assets, right? And the organization's data assets. And thirdly, I would say there are significant considerations we got to think about in terms of scale, ethics, and other considerations from our control frameworks that we need to take care of. And we do those three things reasonably well, I think we should be in reasonable shape. We don't, then we're going to have quite a big challenge.
Excellent. Carl,
John, can you repeat that question? Because I wasn't actually listening. I'm just very conscious as an Irishman. I'm stopping everyone from getting to the drink instead of the other way around.
That's it, yeah. So was that what struck you the most, that you're the last one before the drinks?
A little bit.
So what was the thing that struck you the most today?
Wow, AI. Well, it's hard for it not to, you know. For me, as someone that's constantly trying to look for the hook on selling data management to people. And it's one of those words, data, first off, is not going to work. Then the management bit just makes it worse. But I now think that, you know, there's a hook here. Because by default, forget about the word data or management. By default, when people start asking their agent, listen, I need this thing to help me with stuff, you know? But don't deny me about what needs to go in there and is it appropriate and what the quality. Just let me plug my joypad into it and let me go. So the person that's managing the agents, I mean, they're going to be data geeks just like us, data management geeks.
Yeah.
But they might not show that off because you're going to lose the sale completely. So for me, the hook for our industry I think is going to be AI. I think it's going to be transformative for us, you know. It's probably going to make compliance or, you know, some regulatory things a little bit easier because once you have people managing agents, they're managing what's going in and out. They're managing the security. That's managed, you know.
And I think we heard today too that someone else kind of confirmed what I said earlier in the beginning is that the agent's actually going to sit in the org chart.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
But not unsupervised. Someone's got to watch them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But they're going to be sitting in the org chart.
Very exciting.
Yeah. Rita, what struck you today?
I think there are two things that struck me. One was something that Sultana mentioned, and this was about bias in the data. And just to recall that in the ECB, we are developing our ethical principles of AI. And there are actually two elements that I did not envisage. Apart from technology and tools and data governance, there was actually DEI. diversity, equity, and inclusion considerations in terms of AI risks, as well as actually social well-being. So this was really, really interesting for me when I was contributing to the draft of our ethical principles. And secondly, actually, what was really interesting was actually the presentation by, I think it was the Isle of Man Authority, because to me, this is really something very pioneering, because we all talk about organizational assets. Data is an asset, data is a resource, the next oil. But to be able to evaluate it, putting it on the balance sheet, actually having it as something that we can leverage. I mean, this is something really, really pioneering, and I think it's a really difficult challenge. But if they can pull it off, I think we'll all be looking at that as a model.
So I think you just really applause to that.
Yeah.
You just drafted our next press release. Right? Because we talked about this as being the kind of the poster child of other regulators or other government agencies. And Francis, this is how we change things. We get things going, and the other regulators played it, in the same way. So, fantastic comments there. Anybody have any comments different than our panelists? We're going to do kind of a town hallish type of thing. Any things that struck you that the panelists didn't mention yet? Was it the desserts? Was it because the desserts got wiped out? There was nothing left of the desserts. So,
I thought the presentation.
Mike, just grab the mic so people on the audio can hear us, and then press the button. Yeah, press it on.
Okay, hope you hear me. Yep. So I think the presentation from Ollie I thought was kind of really insightful, because we all talk about kind of the data that goes into the models, but actually seeing it laid out of where it's getting the information that it's then kind of regurgitating to us is really insightful and a little bit scary when you now know that so much of it is from sources which is opinion, not fact. And that for me was kind of really insightful, that it's like
and Ali took probably several thousand hours of work and put it into 5 minutes. I don't know how anybody could do that, but he did a fantastic job on that. Okay. All right, so Rita, I'm going to stick with you for a second, since you are the regulator on the panel. And and I'm going to speak from my time when I was with the regulator. This is going back now 10, 15 years when I was with the Fed and the Treasury. And if I walked into a room and said, we should consider cloud, they would have attacked me and thrown me out on the street. Today's regulatory mindset is so different from them, embracing these new technology concepts. You tell me some great things going on at ECB. Just a little bit, share with people, how is the regulatory community embracing AI?
Okay, so first and foremost, you all know about the EU AI Act, so it's quite pioneering here in Europe. So we very much are, collaborating with the Commission, with actually the authorities drafting the legislation at the European level to ensure that we're au fait with the kind of terminology and the guidance that will become essential in terms of implementation, but also in terms of regulatory requirements on institutions, on member states. So I think this is really, really important for us as a regulator, as a supervisor. The other thing is that, and here I speak specifically as with my banking supervision hat on, the ECB is supervising over 6,000 significant institutions, and those institutions are banks, some of the major banks in the whole of Europe, and they are ahead of the curve. They are adopting, embracing AI technologies, tooling. They are embedding that in their risk aggregation and reporting system. So as a regulator, as a supervisor, we can't be behind the curve. So we have to understand the terminology, we have to understand the language, we have to understand the technology, and we have to understand how to assess and actually to monitor these kind of developments. So but by the same token, I want to emphasize something that the Commission has really emphasized, and that is the aim of something like a legislation or regulation is not to stifle innovation. It's actually to be a partner of innovation, because unbridled innovation can present risks to the citizens of Europe, and that is something that we have to safeguard. And that would be my last word on that. Yeah.
And I'm gonna enhance what you said just a little bit, because I think Rita's being humble. She's leading an effort at ECB to embrace AI. And it was so refreshing to hear that. So it's not the old days where the regulatory community was too conservative, didn't want to explore new technologies. And that's only going to help everybody. Again, I'm going to go back to Francis. It's what was it? We're all swimming in the same ocean, right? So regulators and the institutions live in the same ecosystem, right? and we want to advance that. So that was fantastic. Carl, we talked a lot about AI for data management. Just give us one or two examples. Where have you seen it really work?
I haven't seen it work yet.
Okay. Next question.
It's coming. It's coming. You know, it's coming. And I think that there's a lot of banks now are trying to understand where's the value in these things. The execs are kind of mobilizing around, and Microsoft are mobilizing around the execs, and you can do this, that, and the other, and they're going, yeah, I want that. Carl, go and do that. And it's like, what? That's never going to work. But you can't say that, you know? So when you get to the agent kind of space, which is where we are now, it looks like it's going to be the first to get over the compliance lines. So I think what's going to be transformative there is new roles in the organization that may be called, you know, AI agent manager or something like that, but is really a data management role. And I think that is going to be really interesting, you know, really interesting because...
So the new head of data quality is an agent, huh?
I think so. I think so. And for the first time, people are going to want to engage with data management because they want to use the agent. They want to plug in their joypad and they want to go. Yeah. And I think it's going to be like a reverse engineering of our industry. I think starting with the agent, you know, suddenly people are going to go, oh, I never saw data management like that. You know?
Excellent. Yeah.
So I think that's what's going to happen. And then obviously the stuff that you're putting into the agent is going through a process before you can get it in there because it's not going to be of great quality. You're going to divvy it up and slice and dice in many different ways. Then you're going to be reverse engineering. You're going to be back in the lineage. And then you're going to see bigger problems and say, well, if we want to make the agent better, we have to fix this over here. Then you can create funding to keep going. It
is a systemic problem or solution too,
yeah.
Right? Well, what you've now described as what was going to be my last question is a perfect setup. Lafir, this is changing culture, is it not? And how is AI impacting, I would say, the data management culture as well as just organizational cultures?
So I think to a point made earlier, right? We talk about data as being an asset, right? But do we really treat it as such? If I said to you, we didn't know who owned this building, right? You'd look at me if I was like I was funny, right? But if I said to you, I have data that I don't know who owns it, right? You wouldn't be that surprised because we don't treat it as much of as an asset as we do. So from a cultural standpoint, I think what AI does for us is it helps us truly see the value of data as an asset, right? And the impact it can have on the rest of the organization. So to the point that was being made earlier, if you want a good agent, you got to give the agent good data, right? Yeah. And that data has to come from a place that you know who owns it. When it's not working, you know which neck to choke, for lack of a better word, right? You want to figure out how to fix it, right? And what controls are there to make sure it stays fit for purpose. All of these things will drive, in my view, a change in the nature of how we think about data and data management capability across the enterprise, driven by the value that AI brings, I think. And to me, that's a role that we have both the opportunity and the responsibility to play well in.
Excellent. Is Ben here still from early today? Did he leave? Oh, is your agent going to be wearing a black shirt too when you? There we go. There we go. Any questions for this elite group up here before we break for drinks? I know everybody's saying no more. Yes, there you go. Press the button. Thank you.
Hello. My question is more around, as data management professionals, I think, we have always embraced the stick approach. So compliance, regulations always comes first to us. And I believe that the machine learning models has been there around a long time. Let's all be honest in this room. But we never thought about, let's say, cataloging these models or looking at the lineage of these models. But with this AI coming strong force, now we are like, oh, why didn't we think about this before? So why are we not taking a new stance of taking an innovation-led approach rather than taking regulation and compliance as a tick? Let's take a carrot-based approach.
Do we have to answer that one? I guess it's yes. But it's a great idea, and you know what? I'm very lucky to have lived in both the public and the private sector, and I was always impressed with how smart the people are in the public sector, the dedication they have. To see they're embracing these technologies now, I think it's a bright future, and we'll achieve some of the things you just talked about. So I'm confident of that. Uh-oh,
Yeah,
Francis.
just to pick up on what you said, you're right. I think the regulators must lead so that the pitch they build is the one on which industry can play safely. But I'm afraid, I mean, Rita, you say the ECB now embraces AI, yes, but as a user, for its own purposes, that's not going to solve the thing. We just become part of that same game. The lemmings run faster towards the cliff. We need to rethink the system a bit more fundamentally. And yes, an institution like the ECB can't do it on its own. We need global cooperation for that. But we all go down together, or we solve it together, globally.
Just
Well,
if I may add something
hopefully
to that
we'll be able
point,
to help
John,
that.
I think
I
it's
was
worth mentioning, right? Because, like I said earlier on today, I said I consider data management to be a team sport. I thought it was very telling that the previous speaker just now talked about how if you have brakes, you probably can drive faster, right? And I think to the point that was made earlier, it is to me a collaborative approach in terms of if you have a good regulator who is up to date on the capabilities that the technology environment offers, then as banks and as in an industry, we can also move together faster.
Agreed.
I want to add a final point to this, mainly that, like many of the public institutions, national statistical institutes, the ECB, we make a public commitment regarding the data and statistics that we publish. And therefore, there is a public good associated with, for example, investing in AI in order to improve our process efficiencies, our data quality, and so on and so forth. Because in the end of the day, this is about saving time and money and improving the quality of the information that we use for our policy decision making and the data that and the information that we share with the public. So it is a public good to invest in this ultimately.
Join me in thanking our panel.
Folks, as we
You're going to wrap us up. Yep.
Yep. A couple things I want to do. One is, hey Tony, I think I've got a tagline: passion, commitment, community. Is that it? That's it. I want to take a few minutes, obviously, say thank you to everybody, but also our team as well. But obviously, from the host, UBS, thank you so much. Yeah. I got to say, these are outstanding facilities. And anyone that has a mic in their own chair, I'm there. Right? That's a winner for sure. Thank you very much for the hospitality. Our additional sponsors, without you, we couldn't be there. We'll take all that we can get. I'll put my hat on. We'll take all that we can get and appreciate these, but understand that without our members and without our sponsors, these kind of events aren't possible. So thank you very much. But I also want to turn that thank you inside. When I talk about passion, commitment, and passion, commitment, and community, that's internal to the council as well. And one of our really unique features and real driver is we've got great people. And to have a great organization, you have to have great people. So what I want to do is make sure everyone sees the great people that we have that worked hard for the last 6 months. Luckily, John didn't change anything in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So it was really a smooth, really a smooth. If you saw some of the ink run off of some of these slides, that was us last night. But if I could have my team stand up, because this is the first time we've assembled this team together, a bunch of new people local. Stephen Davis over here. Stella Cabrera. Carol's last. These two are last. Preeti represents our India region. Kiara Brown, Jim Malcolm you've seen, Stella Cabrera. And look, those are the flashy ones. Let me tell you who makes this organization run. Wait.
No, there's Stephen over there.
I already got Steve. Oh, come on over. I got him some juice. But the people that make this organization run, really, on a day-to-day basis, I'm going to open up with Denise. Denise Washington does things internally and externally that we don't know. I have to, and she's got to come front and center. My favorite, Sadie Potter, come on up here. Come, yeah, Sadie. Sadie makes things happen, and there's always people in the organization that make things happen somehow. Sadie's one of those, and the one that leads this whole team is Carol Mahoney. I got to give her full props. Peter, thank you so much for taking time and traveling over for the big day and big announcement. I promised that everybody would be changed, and you are now, right? You're now an association. You're not a council. and couldn't be more excited and thankful for the time we had, the facility we had, and the information we had. It's really, really been a tremendous effort. And please feel free to come and join us in Australia, in India, in New York later in the year, and many things in between.
Some more thank yous.
Oh. Well, I wouldn't, yeah, sorry, thank you. So here's what we've gotten so far, if I'm not mistaken. We have AI in 5 minutes. We have running with scissors. We have data management swimwear, chocolate and peanut butter, and cars with no brakes, right? If we take that away from this, we all have benefited in total. But really, thanks for everybody in working and sharing their insights and their backgrounds and experience up here and up front. And I think, Peter, you said it, right? We need everyone. This is your organization, not ours, right? And if you're not part of the organization, please become a member. And if you are part of the association, then contribute to us. Help us out. We got a lot to do, a lot more to do after today's announcement, which is really, really exciting.
I think we have more speakers on the next slide.
Of course. I knew that. Did anyone put batteries in this?
I think they did. There we go.
There we go.
And then I think we have one more after that.
There we go.
Do your best kind of team, and one more after that.
How am I doing? All right. Notice we didn't script this piece of it. Oh, wait a minute. Who's this? The biggest picture of them all. If he looks familiar, we won't use his last name. But Mr. Michael Bottega back there with the film and the photo. That's all I got.
I think that covers it.
That covers it?
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the drinks and the networking.